The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Purpose was popping.
What's up, mate?
Cheers for coming through, man.
No worries.
It's taken a few efforts
Yeah.
to try to make it happen.
We got there.
Man, now look, taking it back to the start, I guess from when I remember first meeting you, I think I met you through Poeticate.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And I reckon you were young, man. You would have been like 16.
That would be all right as well.
And I think you were just off the back of battling maybe Dialect, or you definitely doing the battling thing.
Yeah.
Around that time.
I used to just kind of follow Poeticate around everywhere, sort of thing.
So I guess,
I was like his little mate.
How did you get even just to that point and then beyond that to where, you know, what you're doing now?
Me and my cousin always used to just write rhymes like when we were kids. So when we were probably like 11, 12. So by the time battling and stuff, by the time we found that, we all started freestyling. Like we would all just freestyle, we would hang out, and that was what we would do. So by the time I saw Max, we were all pretty good at it, and he was really good at it. Max is Poeticate. And we all would just do that all together with him now as well. So we had like our own little crew, and that would have been probably about a year before that battle and that kind of time period where by the time we arrived to go do stage battles, we were pretty smooth, you know.
Well prepared.
Well, just like trained at being able to do that because, you know, you got to stay sharp and do it a lot.
Mm. And then, so do you remember like your very first freestyle battles?
Like for something like a competition. Yeah. I went to Cypher Live had an event with Lyrical Commission and Syllabolics, and they did a overage show one night and then an underage show the next night because we would have been 15 or 16, and they had a qualifier for that in the parklands. So there was a bunch of us there. Ended up winning that whole kind of bracket, and then I lost in the first round of the actual event. So yeah, my first battle was smooth, like everything went all right, but I think it's because there was no crowd. It was kind of like all the other people who were qualifying were just in the park kind of rapping, and then when I went on stage I was like, holy shit, this is heaps different, like, because it's the lights and like the heat, it's like really fucking hot on stage, and like all those little things that you know now that the first time you're doing it and you're trying to control this other situation. I was just like, I did well, I didn't fuck up, but I just wasn't good, and I would have looked terrified. And my cousin told me when I got off, he was like, you probably need to move around a little bit, man, because I must have just been standing dead still, just like rapping my little fucking heart out. But yeah.
And then so that would have been like just after, say, like the Damo Motions.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Absolutely. It would have been, I feel like in Adelaide it was sort of like, there was an era where it would have been Trigger and Delta and Motions. Maybe Motions and Damo would have been their own bracket, and Poeticate and K-Dog, a bunch of other people from that time. And then it was sort of me, Prime, Motive as well would go in a lot of them. Dialect was probably a little bit before us actually, because he won some shit right away. And then after us would have been sort of like the Mannerses and that kind of bracket.
And then so around that battle time, is that when the whole Pagen Elypsis thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's when we started that. Just because like Poeticate and K-Dog had their own group that, like he was the first dude I knew that had his own recorded song and like all this sort of shit. So we would write a lot together because me and him always just wanted to rap. So I'd just go to his house and we just write and write and write. And I know him through my cousin who's Motive from the group as well. And so we would all just be writing. Poe met Prime out at, I think at Shenanigans maybe, like in the smoking section or something like that. I wasn't there for that because I would have been a kid, but so, and then he came into the fold with Sedate as well. So there was, we kind of just, it was a product of just hanging out and rapping together all day long. Yeah. It's like, you know, you give your friends cool names and then you come with a crew and now you're fucking mobbing on the city.
And then, so the freestyle battle stuff was happening. The Pagen Elypsis thing came together. And then the WRC stuff with Prime.
Yeah.
Was that just off the back of that?
I had pretty much already quit battling before that WRCs because that was in 07. So there was a year where I did like everything. Like I did a bunch of local events and kind of was cleaning up. And then I did Revolver and Scribble Jam. That was 06. So by the time WRCs came around, we pretty much just did it because me and Prime and all of our mates, we would watch those 2-on-2s from the States. So it was like a new thing, and I was kind of like, we already had spent so much time doing just that we're already kind of off it. But it was funny now. Like you look at it and it's like a whole bunch of people in a car park, like yelling at each other for 10 hours. But I realized that was quite a big moment, and it was bigger than we probably thought it was.
Yeah. And so the WRCs was after the Scribble Jam.
Yeah, for sure.
So then what happened with the Scribble Jam? Like you did qualifiers here?
Yeah, so Scribble Jam, they had a qualifier in every city. The one here was like Super Nat did a tour, and he would they kind of bundled it together, you know? So he did a tour here. I won the Adelaide ones, and then all the states went to Sydney to do the final, and then I won that, and then that's how they sent me to America. So I was like the Aussie guy from America. But that was the year after Justice had won.
Yeah,
so
okay.
They kind of did that whole thing because he did so good, really, if you look at it.
Yeah, he did amazing.
Because he kind of got a spot through Supremacy or something, and he just cleaned up. So they're like, fuck it, there must be something in the water down there, sort of thing.
And so that was still the freestyle.
Yeah.
And how far did you get through?
I beat one kid, and then the second one, I think I was in like the top 16 or something, because I think they have a shitload of rappers. It might have been like 32 people in it or something.
Is it pretty intense, obviously, going over to the States and like...
I don't know. I was pretty calm. I don't know if that's because I'm an idiot, but I was kind of just in my own realm. I knew what I'd do is I just go and kind of freestyle. Like, I know those ones there's a lot more pressure on it, so a lot more people would have lines and shit, but most of the best battles are won in that era by flipping shit. So I would just be like hoping someone says something interesting, basically. But I did sit next to Reef, the Lost Cause. He was in it the year I was in it. And I was like I was so fucking small too. I was like the smallest kid. And I'm sitting on this picnic table, and Reef comes and sits down next to me, and I was like, fuck. I'm fully in America, dude. This dude is like big as fuck.
Because you would have been young.
I would have been 16 at the time. The promoter had kind of snuck me in. Kirk, I think, actually snuck me into the SA one, because he was like, if you just come in earlier for sound check, we'll just try and rush you through everyone through a qualifying bracket, and if you make it, you make it, and you're just the rappers. You just get, your wristbands, and when you come back, it shouldn't be a problem, sort of thing, And then the girl called me before Sydney, and she was like, I can't let you come. Like, I can't. We found out you're a kid. Like, there's no. And then she thought about it, and she must have spoken to some people that must have been like, oh no, that he's like got a good shot at it, sort of thing. Because she called back and she said, you can come, but if I catch you with like any alcohol, like I gotta boot you, because this is my job and all the shit. And I was like, I wasn't even really tripping. Like, I wasn't there to drink. I was there to kind of pursue my thing. So that all changed as the years went on. But
the lesson. 2-7. Oh yeah.